Chapter 11, Learning the way you are listening at Novel Full. Audio. The lesson Astaroth received brought him well into the day. He eventually had to log out, so he thanked the old mage and prepared to leave. "Call me Abron, young man. Calling me master all the time will make me irritable," the old man said. For the first time since meeting him, Astaroth scanned the old man. Abron/Omni, mage level. Grade. Rare class. Health. Mana. While he was scanning and reading his info, most of what he could see were question marks. Abron huffed. "Don't waste your time, lad. You are years too early to scan my info out of me. And don't do that to just anybody. Stronger people, especially mages, will feel it when you probe into their business. So I recommend you don't do it to people who look stronger than you," the old man said, a look of disapproval on his face. "Ah. I'm sorry, Master Abron. Far from me the intention to be rude." Astaroth quickly apologized, bowing repeatedly. "Bah. Water under the bridge. Just don't make a habit of doing it," Abron said, waving his hand. "I need to go now, sir. I wish you well and will be back in a couple of days," Astaroth said, bowing one last time. He turned and headed out. The old man simply waved him goodbye. Astaroth walked back to his alcove, lied down, and logged out. He had work in the morning, he couldn't play anymore. Of course, he could have taken the week off if he wanted, but that was not his type at all. He liked his job and wasn't at a level of gaming where he could join esports and win his bread that way. It was his wish, but he just wasn't there yet. Apart from winning some amateur competitions in his last game, he wasn't competent or lucky enough. After logging off, Alexander took a shower and opened up some forums to read up on game news for a while. From those, he saw many people complaining that Ash Elves were a bust since no one could walk out of the villages because of the levels of monsters all being over 30. On another topic, he learned that the first player to reach level 10 had unlocked the level leaderboard. Now players were competing to have the limited spots on it, and there were only 100. "I'm pretty far from that for now," he thought. Alexander kept reading through the post and found the leaderboard lower. He read through the names to see if there were players from the Heavenly Thousand from top. He found none for now, but he could guess that those players had insider information and that they were probably strengthening their foundations. He scrolled to a different post, where the user was complaining about how the game was too hard. He cried about how most players could not fight over one monster of a similar level at a time and that most monsters traveled in groups. People responded to him, calling him dumb or weak. Others told him to do like everybody else and form groups. Some even complained about how forming groups didn't fix the problem that much if the group had no healer. Overall, the players felt like the game was hard. After reading that post and chuckling a little, he closed his computer, ate a bite, and went to bed. A good night's sleep later, Alexander woke up fresh and well. Rested, like a Monday morning. After creeping his way to his kitchen counter, he tapped his coffee machine until it beeped and waited for his cup to brew. He only started feeling alive after 3 sips of coffee. After which, he went to purge. He then sat down in front of his television and watched the morning news whilst drinking his coffee. It was the same as usual. The world kept turning, the economy kept getting worse, and people kept getting poorer. Oh, well. He thought. Alexander lived in a small one-bedroom apartment because that was how he could keep saving money. He needed nothing fancy, and although he would love to splurge, he was okay with his life as it was. Alexander finished his coffee and got ready for work. He took public transit for 30 minutes and walked another 5 before reaching his workplace. He was a welder in a factory. Nothing too prestigious, but it paid the bills and then some. He clocked in, worked his shift, and clocked out. Alexander talked little to his co-workers and mostly ate his lunch alone with music in his ears. He was not reserved or anything, he just hated the people there. Alexander had tried making friends when he got the job, but when he talked about how his dream was to become a paid esports player, most of them started laughing and shunned him. Some even went as far as calling him a loser for thinking it was a realistic career choice. He stopped talking to all of them at that point. It wasn't worth his energy to socialize with people who couldn't do better than to drag others down because they couldn't achieve their goals. He would just keep trying until he could prove them wrong. After 8 hours of repetitive work, Alexander clocked out and took the commute back home. He stopped at a convenience store after walking off the bus to get a frozen meal and walked back home. He entered his apartment and heated his frozen meal, ate it, and hurriedly sat in his chair, reclining it back. He then pressed the power button and launched New Eden. Launching New Eden, logging in welcome back player Astaroth with the short feeling of free fall and the flash of bright colors, he opened his eyes to the familiar ceiling of his in-game alcove. He had around 12 hours of in-game time to play. So he rushed out of his alcove and ran straight to the barracks. The trainer was waiting there for him as he had told him he would. He walked up to the man and bowed. "Teacher, I am ready for training," he said as he bowed. "Perfect timing. I just came back from my training in the forest. Now I get to toy with you until you drop," the sword trainer said, grinning mischievously. "Let's get this training started, shall we?" he added. The trainer grabbed a polearm from a nearby rack and threw it at Astaroth, grabbed one other for him, and walked to the sparring zone. Astaroth followed him there. "What I will teach you is the ways of the weapons master. Since you can manipulate mana well enough to be a mage, but still want to learn martial arts, I will teach you how to wield many weapons," the trainer explained. "The reason for this is that mana can reinforce your attacks, so you won't need to learn any specific art to be strong. That will also widen your arsenal enough that you never end up in a disadvantageous fight," he added. "This training will require many days. Are you ready?" the trainer asked. "Yes, teacher," Astaroth said, getting in a fighting position as best he could with this unknown weapon to him. "Good. That's the spirit," the trainer said, before getting in position too. They spared for most of the day, with Cloud giving Astaroth pointers every time he clapped him. After almost all day sparring, Astaroth finally got proof of his advancement. "Ding, you have learned basic polearm training." Before he could celebrate, the trainer smacked his polearm hard, forcing it out of his hands, before sweeping him off his feet. "Oof," he said, dropping on his back. "Keep your eyes on me, next time lad, aha." The trainer laughed. He then helped him up. "You have reached a level high enough for now. Let's call it a day and train another weapon next time. What say you?" he asked. "I shall follow your recommendations, teacher," Astaroth said with a nod. "Good. Then go wash up and rest. I will wait for you here when you are ready for your next lesson," the trainer said, before walking inside the barracks to do the same. Astaroth bowed and left. He walked to the river, washed up, and walked to his alcove. He had been connected for a little over 11 hours in .game. So he had to log out now. He lay down on his cot and did just that. After logging out, he repeated what he had done the night before. He showered and then browsed the forums for a bit. He looked up the level leaderboard and saw that the ranks had moved little and the top of the board had barely leveled 3 times ever since last night. From that, he could glean that leveling became increasingly hard the higher you were. That was good news. That meant he wouldn't lag too far behind. He closed the forums after a while and went to sleep. The rest of his week proceeded in the same fashion. Wake up, go to work, come back home, eat, log in and play, log out, wash up, forum surf, and go to sleep. The closer he got to Friday, the more the weekend crept up, and the more he was excited. After clocking out on Friday, he kept stomping his foot on the commute home, and he almost ran out of the bus once there. He stopped at the store, grabbed food for the weekend, and ran home. This weekend, the trainer has promised to bring him out during his patrols, to help him gain experience in actual combat situations. Alexander couldn't wait to patrol. That meant he would level up. He quickly ate, showered, and got ready to log in. I'll be catching up now, he thought, smiling. Launching New Eden. Logging in. Welcome back, player Astaroth. Chapter 12. The Phoenix. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Going back to the launch of the game. Somewhere in a small city near Montreal, Quebec, in Canada. Another person was excited to play New Eden. This person was Carrie, a girl who liked to be low-key. She was a secretary in a clinic by day, and a pro gamer by night. Some may know her from her moniker in Tower of Babylon. The Phoenix. The strongest fire sorceress in the game. Spot 10 in the Heavenly Thousand and a force of nature, if given time to cast a spell. She had pre-ordered a VR helmet when the company had promoted their new game. She was ready a good while before a certain someone, playing from his gaming chair. Carrie had a better setup, too. She had her bed near her competition PC and she was already lying on it browsing some forums about the game, the helmet near her head already booted. Her phone vibrated. She had set herself an alarm for 20 minutes before the game launch. She texted her mother that was upstairs, telling her she would game until late tonight and to not bother her. Her mother simply replied, "Okay. Don't stay in too long." With that done, Carrie got comfortable and slipped on the helmet. She looked at the internal clock and saw that it was 5:43 p.m. Only 2 minutes left before the pre-opening and character creation. She was buzzing with excitement. This is my chance, she thought. I can finally go higher and reach first, she thought, clenching her fist. As soon as the clock flipped to 5:45, her helmet automatically launched New Eden. She felt her body sink and then stabilize in a black expanse of nothing. The only thing with her was a person. Or rather, an elf. A man with a well-defined body but soft features. As soon as she was close to him, he spoke to her. "Ah, welcome to New Eden, young maiden. Are you here to experience the adventure of a lifetime?" The elf said, smiling. She simply nodded back. "Very good. You look determined. That is good, as your adventure will be fraught with unknown dangers and enemies beyond mortal reason. Are you ready?" The elf asked. "I am," she answered. "Ah, but first, what should one call you, young adventurer?" The elf asked. Before Carrie appeared a floating bar with "Enter your name" written on it. She typed Phoenix without hesitation. People already knew that name and she was comfortable with it. Phoenix, a fine name indeed, for a young ambitious woman like you. Young Phoenix, do you wish to pick a different race than human to start your adventure?" The elf continued. Carrie saw a window appear before her eyes. On it, the different races available for the game. She read all of them before choosing. This way she could make the optimal choice. Elf. Starting stat bonus. +1 wisdom, +1 agility racial trait. 1 with nature. Boosts nature affinity for druids, 15% damage/healing for nature spells, grants starting passive expert tracker for archers. Expert tracker gives a 15% increased chance to find clues in nature when tracking. Starting classes. Druid, Archer Dwarf. Starting stat bonus. +1 strength, +1 constitution racial trait. Small but sturdy. Dwarfs are small but extremely resilient people. Gain a 15% chance to resist any physical ailment, poison, bleed, stuns included, starting classes. Shield bearer, Warmonger human. Starting stat bonus. 2 points that can be attributed at choice, even luck, racial trait. Improvise, adapt, overcome. Humans are not especially good at anything but can learn everything. Can learn even racial. Specific skills and spells but at the cost of power, 0.1% less powerful. Starting classes: Archer, Warrior, Priest, Mage, Fae. Starting stat bonus: +1 Wisdom, +1 Intelligence. Racial trait: can you give me your name? Faes are creatures of trickery and deceit. If one gets your full name, they can force the person into a temporary slave contract for 24 hours. Starting classes: Illusionist, Psychic, Demonoid. Starting stat bonuses: +1 Strength, +1 Agility. Racial trait: born in blood. Demonoids are a race that thrives through war. Their bodies are their weapons of choice, and they sharpen them through battle. +15% physical damage reduction. Starting classes: Warrior, Warlock, Ash Elf. Starting stat bonus: none. Racial trait: rare race of elves rarely seen in the land. Not much is known about them. Starting classes: none. Orc. Starting stat bonus: +2 Strength. Racial trait: Orc Smash. Orcs are battle maniacs and strength is absolute to them. +15% physical damage. Starting classes: Barbarian, Gnome. Starting stat bonuses: +1 Agility, +1 Intelligence. Racial trait: machines are the way. Gnomes excel with technology. They advance it. The silly humans only use it. +15% damage / resistance of any mechanical structure / weapon a gnome crafts or summons. Starting classes: Engineer, Technomancer, Gunner. Undead. Starting stat bonuses: +2 Constitution / Strength / Intelligence, depending on starting class. Racial trait: Undead don't know fear. The undead have already died. They no longer have feelings. Total immunity to mental afflictions. Starting classes: Zombie, Tank, Skeleton, Warrior, Wraith, Wizard. Out of these, Elf tempted her, for aesthetics, but their affinity to nature would limit her class. The next races with wizards were the humans, and then the undead. She shivered at the thought of being a wraith. In the end, she picked human. She attributed both points to intelligence, but as she was going to confirm, her finger hovered over the button. She doubled back and took a point away from intelligence and redistributed it to luck. Her inside information had specified that luck was an important stat. Let's see where this goes, she thought, pressing confirm. Congratulations on finalizing your avatar, young maiden. I wish you luck on your grand quest. Know that whatever may happen on your journey, will all be defined by your decisions. Now off you go. The elf said with a big smile, before waving his arm, making the scene before Carrie fade away. In its place, a counter appeared. It showed less than 1 minute. Just in time, she thought. When the counter reached 0, the surroundings changed. The black made way for bright colors. The nothingness around Carrie switched over to a flight view of a bright new world. She was flying over a continent in the world of New Eden and could see the cities, forests, mountains, and other sights to behold. An announcement sounded all around her. * Welcome to all, in this new world of adventure called New Eden. May your future be bright and your path be filled with the bodies of your enemies. Let your new lives begin. Then she spun and disappeared, reappearing on the ground in a medieval city. Many people were walking around her, not even caring about how she just popped up on the street. She turned on herself for a bit, taking in the sights. She then looked around to find a guard. She noticed 3 of them not too far, walking on the streets, probably patrolling. She walked up to them. Excuse me, sirs. I would like to go to the nearest mage tower. Could you kindly point me the way? She asked them, pulling out her most charming smile. The guards all looked gobsmacked for a few seconds looking at her. Then the one at the front coughed and pointed her to a tall black tower to the west. That's the mage tower. Turn left on the next street and it will be a straight walk to it. The guard said, ogling her through his visor. Thank you, good sir. Carrie responded, bowing slightly. She then left and followed the directions he gave her. She reached the tower shortly and made her way inside. She walked to a counter and spoke to the person in mage robes that was seated there. Hello. I would like to become a pyromancer, she said, straightforwardly. The sorcerer looked at her from over his spell book. His gaze went up and down on her. You seem to have some magic capacity. But you lack much to become an advanced class like pyromancer, young lady. Maybe in a few decades. The sorcerer said, looking back down at his book. Bingo, Carrie thought. But, great sorcerer, I am here to learn. Can no one teach me? She said, using a pleading tone. Humph. Of course, someone can teach you. Although you will have to prove to us you are worth our time. The sorcerer harumphed. What can I do to prove myself, O great sorcerer? She said, almost cooing at him. The sorcerer looked at her for a moment. He then pointed to his right. Go into that mana room. If you can form your mana lobe in less than an hour, I will deem you worth our time. Now off you go. He shooed her away, looking back down to his book. Seeing that his attention was completely on his book, Carrie smiled and walked to the room. She knew what she had to do now. All that was left was to test her luck. She grinned. She had put a point there in good measure, so she was sure she would succeed. This is the rebirth of the Phoenix. She said, clenching her fist. Chapter 13 Leveling Up. You are listening at novelfull.audio. ****** back to current time ******* Astaroth opened his eyes in .game and almost jumped up from the cot. He hurriedly ran to the barracks, excited like a kid about to go on a field trip. Which was almost the truth. Except he would be in the danger zone, possibly surrounded by monsters over 30 levels higher than him. Pure bliss. He made it to the barracks in record time and ran straight to the trainer. Good morning, teacher. Astaroth, reporting for patrol duty. He yelled, cupping his fists in a martial salute. Pipe down, lad. I'm right in front of you. The trainer said, chuckling. Grab one of each of the weapons you trained with this week and follow me. He said, pointing at the racks. Astaroth picked up a short sword, a long sword, a polearm, a set of daggers, a wooden shield, a bow and quiver, and a war axe. All of which were training versions. He read their descriptions. Basic training short sword, 1H. Grade. Common attack power. 1 durability. October 10th description. A short sword that is good only for training. Basic training longsword, 1H/2H. Grade. Common attack power. 1, 1H/2, 2H, durability. October 10th description. A long sword that is good only for training. Basic training war axe, 2H. Grade. Common attack power. 3 durability 10/10 description. A war axe that is good only for training. Basic training polearm, 2H. Grade. Common attack power. 1 durability. October 10th description. A polearm that is good only for training. Basic training daggers, 2. Grade. Common attack power. 1 durability. October 10th, 10 out of 10 description. A set of daggers that are only good for training. Basic training wooden shield. Grade. Common defense power. 5% durability. 50/50th description. A wooden shield that is only good for training. Basic training bow and quiver, 50. Grade. Common attack power. 1 durability. October 10th description. A bow and quiver that are only good for training. These were junk items as far as he was concerned, but that was what the trainer wanted him to use, so that was what he would use. He could always enhance them with mana to deal more damage. Cloud started walking towards the village entrance while Astaroth was inspecting the weapons, so he closed the interface and skipped to follow him. They exited the village and Astaroth got the same warning as last time. Ding asterisk, you are leaving a safe zone. From here on out, creatures you meet will attack you on sight and you can die. Please be mindful of your environment and tread cautiously. Good luck, adventurer, asterisk. He swiped it away knowingly. He was with the trainer this time, so the risk was much smaller. Although Cloud had told him about their itinerary beforehand, he still didn't know the exact location. He had just told him they were going to clean out the local wildlife, starting with the dire wolves to the east. The man had told Astaroth that, although he was with him, to be on his toes at all moments, as the lowest the wolves' level would be, was level 30. He had tasked Astaroth with harassing only. He could not try to confront a beast alone yet. Which was why he had trained with the bow. Ranged attacks were his best way to harass without getting in too much danger. They traveled for around half an hour before they started hearing howls in the distance. We have entered their territory. Be wary of your surroundings, Cloud said, unsheathing his long sword. Astaroth only nodded. They kept walking, albeit much slower, into the wolves' territory. It didn't take long before they found their first prey. Just over a ridge, there was a river. And at the river, a wolf was crouching, lapping on the water. Astaroth inspected it. Dire wolf. Level 32 grade. Common health 5 foot 750/5, 750. Cloud looked to Astaroth and motioned him to pull out his bow. Once the bow was out and an arrow knocked, he motioned to wait and started walking without a sound towards the wolf. When Astaroth felt like Cloud was close enough to the wolf, he raised the bow and pulled the bowstring. He inhaled, exhaled half his breath, and kept the other half in his lungs. The bow became steady. Cloud barely turned his head to see if Astaroth was ready, and then lunged at the wolf. He stabbed at his neck to get the maximum out of this surprise attack. Astaroth loosed his arrow, aiming for the body. He wasn't confident enough in his aim to go for the neck. .717, .15, tisk. Astaroth clicked his tongue. He could tell which damage number was his. He knocked another arrow and used ignite on the arrow tip. He again breathed in and out and released. The arrow flew straight and hit the wolf's body again. .15 burn applied. He looked at the wolf's info again. Dire wolf, burning/29s. Level 32 grade. Common health 5 foot 001/5, 750, .2/s, psi, only 2 damage per second. He grumbled. Cloud kept slashing at the creature a few more times, getting one more critical hit in. Astaroth fired 5 more arrows, all doing 15 damage. He lamented his damage, but there was nothing he could do about it. It took 2 minutes to take the wolf down, but the angle was never good enough to get a hit in because of the fast movements. Astaroth could only do so much with the steep level difference. The wolf finally fell. Asterisk, you have helped in killing a dire wolf, LVL 32. 184 EXP awarded for contribution, bonus 300% for kill, 3 tiers higher, 2.87% damage done, **** level up. Level up. You are now level 5. From leveling, you gain 2 skill points, 2 free attribute points, and all attributes increased by 2, ***, yes. Astaroth thought, throwing his fist in the air. As the wolf died, they heard multiple howls at the same time in the distance. Followed by one louder howl, much graver in tone. One could tell that the creature that howled last was bigger than the others. Probably stronger, too. We have to go. Now. Cloud said, his face turning to a frown. Why, sir? They are just more wolves, right? Astaroth questioned. We are leaving. Cloud said again, turning around and starting a jog. He could have run, but that would leave Astaroth alone in the woods. Astaroth just started running behind him and asked no more questions. It didn't take long for him to understand why the trainer wanted him to run. The ground started rumbling and the birds in the trees all took flight in the same direction the two men were running. Cloud barely looked behind and cursed. Shit. Keep running, lad. Unless you want to die. He yelled, halting and turning around, sword at the ready. Astaroth kept running but looked over his shoulder as he bypassed the trainer. What he saw froze his blood. A wolf, 4 times the size of the one they had just slain, all white. A dozen more wolves followed the monstrosity not far behind, similar to the one they had killed. Now he realized. An alpha. And a huge one too. Astaroth didn't look more and turned his head back ahead. He ran with all his might. Astaroth even opened up his status window and dumped all his free points into agility. An exercise in futility most would think, but every point mattered. Status. Name. Astaroth race. Ash Elf level. 5, 54/150, stats. HP, 110/110 MP 210/210 stamina. 100 mana regen. 1 per second in combat, 5 per second out of combat strength. 6 agility. 7 constitution. 6 intelligence. 6 wisdom. 6 attack power street 30 attack power agi. 35 magic attack power. 30 healing power. 30 luck. 0, stat unaffected by level up and free points, available stat points. 0 available skill points. 4 physical condition. Fear, fear grips at your body. Attack power 0.5%. Mental condition. Fear, fear grips at your mind. Accuracy down, equipped gear. Beginner clothes, basic training short sword, basic training long sword, basic training war axe, basic training polearm, basic training daggers, 2, basic training wooden shield, basic training bow and quiver, 43, he felt his running speed get slightly faster. He looked back for a second and saw Cloud running behind him while fighting off the wolves. The Alpha had yet to make a move. It had slowed down to follow them, but it wasn't trying to overtake them either. Astaroth could see the malicious glint in its eyes. It was smart enough to be enjoying this little hunt. The run and fight lasted for a few minutes until they could see the trees being less prevalent. They were nearing the village. The Alpha, seeing that the forest was running thin, moved into action. It sped up blazingly fast, lunging for Cloud's throat. The man blocked the hit in the nick of time, and let the blow push him farther back. They were only a few hundred meters away from the cave entrance, where the shield would protect them. They only needed one last Hail Mary. Astaroth reached the cave entrance first, since he was further up ahead, thanks to Cloud's efforts. He turned around and got hit with another shock. The smaller wolves surrounded Cloud, with the Alpha walking up to him slowly while growling. Teacher! Astaroth yelled in horror. Cloud didn't even look back. He kept his full focus on the real threat. This would be a grand battle and an honorable death. Take care of yourself, lad. Become strong and avenge me. He said, without looking back. Astaroth couldn't believe what he heard. This idiot wanted to sacrifice himself again. Did he have hero syndrome or something? So he dashed into the cave. He needed to find help quickly. Chapter 14 In Extremis, Part 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. ********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** after seeing the young man running into the cave, Cloud sighed in relief. At least he won't see me get torn to shreds. He thought. He steeled his mind for the fight to come, but the Alpha standing in front of him was still not attacking. So he inspected it. Dire Wolf Alpha. Level 41 Grade. Special Zone Boss STR 61 Agi. 82 Con 62 Int 62 Wisconsin 41 HP 43 feet 500 inches MP 1 foot 645 inches Attack Power Street, Bite. 305 Attack Power Agi, Claw. 410 Defense. 6.2% Abilities. Tearing Claw, Crushing Bite. Tearing Claw. Uses a powerful claw attack that does more damage and causes bleeding. Can be seen by the sheen around the claws. Plus 100% claw damage, causes bleed 1% HP/S that stops when treated. Cooldown 1 minute. Crushing Bite. This creature's bite can ground rocks to dust. Don't get caught. Plus 100% bite damage. Possibility of incapacitating a limb that is bitten. Cooldown 30s. This is going to be a tough fight, he thought. Even without the dozen wolves surrounding him, the Alpha alone would be a worthy opponent. But with them, his chances might as well be nil. Come on. You big dumb dog. Cloud provoked it. I don't have all day. If you want to kill me, then make it quick. He added. The Alpha just looked at him derisively, like he was just food ready to be chomped. Fine then. I'll go to you instead. Cloud yelled, pulling his sword back into a draw position. Ghost Blade. 1000/Blood Festival. He then whispered. All around him, in a 100-meter radius, blades of ethereal energy started manifesting. The blades multiplied until 1,000 of them covered the sky. From above, one would only see ghostly swords. Then the swords started falling, one by one. 37.37.37.37. The rain of blades lasted for a full minute, with most of the swords landing on the Alpha. The dire wolves all took 50 slashes each, and the Alpha received a whopping 400. There was dust everywhere for a few seconds after the last blade hit the ground. Once it cleared up, Cloud was seen standing in the middle, panting heavily. Around him, heavily injured dire wolves. Dire Wolf, 3. Level 30 Grade. Common STR 40 Agi. 59 Con 40 Int 40 Wis 30 Health. 550/4 foot 250 Mana. 800, Attack Power Street, Bite. 200 Attack Power Agi, Claw. 295 Defense. 4% Dire Wolf, 2. Level 31 Grade. Common STR 41 Agi. 62 Con 42 Int 41 Wis 31 Health. 1 foot 050/4 750 Mana. 845, Attack Power Street, Bite. 205 Attack Power Agi, Claw. 310 Defense. 4.2% Dire Wolf, 1. Level 32 Grade. Common STR 43 Agi. 65 Con 44 Int 43 Wis 32 Health. 2 foot 050/5 750 Mana. 915, Attack Power Street, Bite. 215 Attack Power Agi, Claw. 325 Defense. 4.4% Dire Wolf, 1. Level 33 Grade. Common STR 45 Agi. 68 Con 45 Int 45 Wis 33 Health. 3 foot 050/6 750 Mana. 985, Attack Power Street, Bite. 225 Attack Power Agi, Claw. 340 Defense. 4.5% Dire Wolf, 4. Level 34 Grade. Common STR 47 Agi. 71 Con 47 Int 46 Wis 34 Health. 3 foot 550/7 250 Mana. 1 foot 030 attack power street, bite. 235 attack power agi, claw. 355 defense. 4.7% dire wolf, 1. Level. 35 grade. Common STR 48 agi. 74 con 49 int 48 wis 35 health. 4 foot 550/8 250 mana. 1 foot 100 inches attack power street, bite. 240 attack power agi, claw. 370 defense. 4.9%. He glanced them to assess their numbers. Then he looked forward, hoping to see only a carcass where the alpha had stood. But what he saw instead doused his mind in cold water. There was a white cocoon where the alpha's body should be. After a few seconds, it started cracking. From inside it came the alpha, enraged, eyes glowing red. Dire Wolf Alpha. Level. 41 grade. Special STR 61 agi. 82 con 62 int 62 Wisconsin 41 HP, 4 foot 350/43 500 MP 1 foot 645 inches attack power street, bite. 305 attack power agi, claw. 410 defense. 6.2% abilities. Tearing claw, crushing bite, indomitable soul, tearing claw. Uses a powerful claw attack that does more damage and causes bleeding. Can be seen by the sheen around the claws. Plus 100% claw damage, causes bleed 1% HP/S that stops when treated. Cooldown 1 minute. Crushing bite. This creature's bite can ground rocks to dust. Don't get caught. Plus 100% bite damage. Can incapacitate a limb that is bitten. Cooldown 30s. Indomitable soul. When an attack takes away over 10% of this creature's HP, bringing it to death's door, the creature instead forms a cocoon, locking its HP at 10% and becoming invulnerable for the next 30 seconds. Cloud instantly understood what had happened. Despair filled his thoughts. That was his only chance for victory, and now it was gone. He gripped the hilt of his sword tightly and took the deepest breath he could through the panting. I'm not gonna go down easily, you mutts. Come on. Bring it on. He yelled as he got ready to fight to the death. Chapter 15 In Extremis, Part 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. ********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* Astaroth headed straight for the barracks. Some warriors there might help, he thought. He barged right into the building, not bothering with the trainees outside. Help! Cloud is outside the barrier fighting a pack of dire wolves. He won't last long. He hollered, out of breath. Silence ensued for a few seconds, then loud laughter broke out. Ahahaha. Kid, if that man can't take down a pack of dire wolves, then nobody in the world can. Ahahaha. He'll be just fine. Go back to training, runt. One guffawed. Yeah. Ha ha ha. As if a simple pack of dire wolves could take out this village's strongest warrior. Go back and watch him fight. You are in for a treat. Another yelled out between laughs. Then ensued a rain of mockery and loud laughter aimed at him. Anger welled up inside Astaroth. He clenched his fists hard, his nails planting inside his hands. He cycled his mana inside his body once and converged it to his throat. Shut up! He yelled, shaking the walls of the barracks. Some soldiers yelped as the vocal shockwave hit them, knocking them to their asses. Ding, you have learned the skill, intimidation shout. Astaroth angrily swiped the notification away. Do you guys think I would be here if it was only the pack? There is a level 41 special alpha with the pack, you idiots. He can't win this. He angrily shouted. Astaroth wasn't a man to get angry easily, but a man's life was at stake here, and these morons were mocking him, instead of helping. One of the few warriors that had kept silent got up, slightly frowning. Is what you say true, boy? He asked gravely. Yes, it is the truth, Astaroth said, nodding. Finally, someone who listens. He thought. Arm up, men. If what the boy says is true, then that creature might breach the barrier after having dealt with the boss. That same man said, grabbing a broadaxe from beside his chair. The men all seemed to respect that warrior because not a single one laughed. All of them grabbed their weapons and started heading out of the barracks. 16 men came out of the barracks, one after the other. They jogged to the entrance of the cave. What they found when they reached it momentarily stopped them in their tracks. Half a dozen wolves were strewn on the ground, cuts all over them. The other half dozen were circling Cloud, charging at him two at a time, from different angles, biting and clawing the man. When he turned to deal with one, the other would attack his back savagely. For every wolf the man fended off, the other would open a vicious wound on him. The warrior that had taken the lead snapped out of his horror. Charge! Defend the boss! He yelled, raising his sword. Charge! All the others screamed, running at the wolves. The 16 of them charged at the wolves, using their numerical advantage to overturn the situation. They split up the wolves, fighting them with 2 warriors per wolf. 3 others, that looked like the most battle-hardened of the bunch, charged at the alpha. The last one ran to the staggering Cloud and pulled him back across the village barrier before charging back at the alpha. The wolves left alive were the stronger ones from the pack, as Cloud had taken out the weaker ones first, trying to thin the herd. Astaroth didn't miss this chance while the wolves were restrained and fired an arrow at each one of them, going for the EXP while he still could, starting with the weakest. .34.34.34.68, .34.34 They started falling, one after the other. Asterisk You have helped in killing a dire wolf, LVL 33. 33 EXP awarded for contribution, bonus 300% for kill 3 tiers higher, 0.5% damage done, asterisk You have helped in killing a dire wolf, LVL 34. 32 EXP awarded for contribution, bonus 300% for kill 3 tiers higher, 0.47% damage done, asterisk You have helped in killing a dire wolf, LVL 34. 32 EXP awarded for contribution, bonus 300% for kill 3 tiers higher, 0.47% damage done, asterisk You have helped in killing a dire wolf, LVL 34. 64 EXP awarded for contribution, bonus 300% for kill 3 tiers higher, 0.94% damage done, asterisk level up. You are now level 6. From leveling, you gained 1 skill point, 1 free attribute point, and all attributes increased by 1, asterisk You have helped in killing a dire wolf, LVL 34. 32 EXP awarded for contribution, bonus 300% for kill 3 tiers higher, 0.47% damage done, asterisk You have helped in killing a dire wolf, LVL 35. 29 EXP awarded for contribution, bonus 300% for kill 3 tiers higher, 0.41% damage done, asterisk After those 6 were down, only the alpha was left. He looked at the ants that dared defy it and growled menacingly. It lunged at the warriors at insane speeds, swatting them aside like they weighed nothing. The last person it lunged to, instead of swatting him aside, stomped him, holding the warrior to the ground. The alpha looked at the man while snarling. Saliva was dripping from its mouth down on the man's face. Astaroth wanted to help. He thought hard, and an idea popped into his mind. He drew his bowstring back, an arrow knocked, and concentrated on it. Swirling wind started dancing at the back of the arrow. Astaroth aimed it at the monster's mobile face and released the string. The arrow left the bowstring at vertiginous speeds, propelled by the spinning winds, whistling through the air. The alpha couldn't even react as it lodged itself into his eye. For 12, ding, you have learned the skill, piercing shot. The alpha reeled back in pain, releasing the man from its hold. It started trying to dislodge the arrow from its eye, but to no avail. Meanwhile, near Astaroth, a familiar old man appeared. He quickly glanced at the situation and acted. Impel gale. He mumbled. Wind picked up near the men that were holding off the Alpha and pushed them all back towards the cave entrance. He then cast another spell. Lightning prison. He said, pointing at the Alpha. 5 lightning bolts fell from the sky, surrounding the wolf in a pentagonal box. The Alpha now had a look of panic. Abraon looked at the Alpha dire wolf with a look of inevitability. You have rampaged enough. Time to face your maker. He said, pointing towards the sky. Lightning judgment. He uttered. The sky went dark. It was like the sun scurried away, scared of what was to come. Black clouds started forming over the captured wolf. Not long after, thunder rumbled. Then suddenly. Flash bang, a flash of bright light, followed by a second of silence, followed by a thunderclap so loud, Astaroth's ears rang. It was like a flashbang grenade had detonated in his face. Except it wasn't a grenade, it wasn't in his face, and it did a lot more than just blind and deafen him. Inside the lightning prison, where there once stood a big white wolf, there was only a charred corpse, burnt well past recognition. Asterisk, you have helped in killing a dire wolf Alpha, Special Zone Boss, LVL-41. 312 EXP awarded for contribution, bonus 300% for kill 3 tiers higher, 0.95% damage done, *** level up. You are now level 7. From leveling, you gained 1 skill point, 1 free attribute point, and all attributes increased by 1**, and just like that, the fight ended. Chapter 16 Next Stage of Body Cleansing, Part 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After the fight, many of the warriors went to collect their bountiful harvest, wolf pelts, teeth, claws, and monster cores. The old mage walked to the charred remains of his kill. He snapped his fingers and a small wind gust shredded the corpse to pieces and scattered the ashes to the wind. The only thing that remained on the ground was a clear blue orb. He picked it up and walked back towards the village. Come with me, he said, walking near Astaroth. Yes, sir. Astaroth responded, walking behind him. As they passed the surrounding people, the warriors all nodded their heads to Astaroth. He didn't know what caused their change in attitude, but he gladly accepted it as he nodded back. Abraon walked to his house and walked in, leaving the door open behind him. Astaroth followed wordlessly. They walked silently to the back and entered the hidden tunnel that descended under the village. Once they reached the cave where the shield artifact was located, the old man turned around. It's time for you to enhance your mana lobe to the next level. Sit, he said, starting his habitual pacing. You are going to need to be stronger than right now if you want to be useful in battle. What happened today was a streak of luck. What would have happened if you two were further from the village? Or if something had caught alone you? You would have died faster than you can cry for help. Abraon said. I know, sir. That is why we were hunting. For me to get stronger. Astaroth replied, frowning a little. He was getting lectured about getting stronger when that was what he was trying to do. It slightly peeved him, but he said only that. He didn't want to alienate the old man, after all. Sigh, yes, I know. Abraon said, dejectedly. But there are other ways than fighting. Are you like those stupid muscle brains in the barracks, or are you smarter? He added, slight annoyance in his tone. I'm sorry, sir. It won't happen again, I promise. Astaroth said, lowering his forehead to the ground. He could feel the care the old man had for him, so he apologized to reassure him. It was not like he wanted to run after danger either. Everything had happened so fast. Enough lecturing. Start gathering mana. The old man eventually said, waving the matter aside. Yes, sir. Astaroth sat back straight and said. He restarted the exercise he had done last time, breathing in mana and circulating it inside his body. He again stopped once he felt saturated, not sure what was the next step to upgrade his mana lobe. I think full, sir. What should I do next? Astaroth asked, his eyes still closed, looking inwards. To enhance your mana lobe, take all the mana in it, and compress it until it is no bigger than a grain of sand. It will hurt. A lot. But that is the only way to do it fast. The only other way takes years, and we don't have that time. Abron instructed. Astaroth nodded and started compressing. At first, the pain was barely noticeable. Like the prick of a needle. But the more he compressed, the more the mana became agitated, and the prickling intensified. Halfway through, it already felt more like stabbing pain than needle pricks, but he persevered. Time flew as he focused, sweating profusely and grunting in pain every so often. After hours of compressing, he was close to his goal. The pain right now felt like his brain was getting blended in a magic bullet blender. Tears could be seen rolling out of the corner of his closed eyes. The last step took him a full hour to complete, with the grunts of pain becoming more frequent. At some point, blood started dripping out of his nose, and onto his legs. But he kept pressing and pressing until the stabbing pain transformed into searing pain and he felt the mana solidify. Arg! He yelled out as he collapsed to the ground. He lay there, unconscious for about 10 minutes, before waking up, feeling like shit. He felt like he was hungover from a night of massive drinking. And then he threw up beside him. Ding, your mana lobe has reached level 2, ahahaha. Abron laughed loudly. The old man was now sitting with his back to the artifact. You woke up faster than I thought you would. Good lad. It proves your firm resolve and high potential. The old man said, waving his hand to the puke and setting it ablaze. Burning it caused a horrible stench, but it lasted only a few seconds, compared to the lasting smell had it stayed there. But your pain is only starting. Abron grinned. Now you need to purify your body again. Get to it. He added, sounding almost excited to see Astaroth suffer. Luckily for Astaroth, the process to cleanse his body didn't change from the first time, so he just repeated the steps. It took him another half day to cleanse his body a second time. Of course, the process was painful and ended in a fit of spewing black gunk. It really was unpleasant. Ding, asterisk, you have cleansed your body a second time. Body cleansing LVL2 acquired asterisk. Astaroth looked at his stats and distribute his free attribute points. Status. Name. Astaroth race. Ash elf level. 7, 168/280, stats. HP, 180/180 MP 380/380 stamina. 100 mana regen. 1 per second in combat, 5 per second out of combat strength. 8 agility. 9 constitution. 8 intelligence. 8 wisdom. 8 attack power. Street 40 attack power. Agi. 45 magic attack power. 40 healing power. 40 natural defense. 0.8% luck. 0 stat unaffected by level up and free points, available stat points. 2 available skill points. 7 physical condition. Normal mental condition. Normal equipped gear. Beginner clothes, basic training short sword, basic training long sword, basic training war axe, basic training polearm, basic training daggers, 2, basic training wooden shield, basic training bow and quiver, 43, I really need to invest in some offense. He thought. Chapter 17 Next Stage of Body Cleansing, Part 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. He upgraded his attack power, so he put 1 point into strength and the other into intelligence. Status. Name. Astaroth race. Ash Elf Level 7, 168/280, Stats. HP, 180/180 MP 385/385 Stamina. 100 Mana Regen. 1 per second in combat, 5 per second out of combat strength. 9 Agility. 9 Constitution. 8 Intelligence. 9 Wisdom. 8 Attack Power Street 45 Attack Power Agi. 45 Magic Attack Power. 45 Healing Power. 40 Natural Defense. 0.8% Luck. 0 Stat unaffected by level up and free points, available stat points. 0 available skill points. 7 Physical Condition. Normal Mental Condition. Normal Equipped Gear. Beginner Clothes, Basic Training Short Sword, Basic Training Long Sword, Basic Training War Axe, Basic Training Polearm, Basic Training Daggers, 2, Basic Training Wooden Shield, Basic Training Bow and Quiver, 43. Next up, he went to reread his skills and see what happens when he levels them up with the skill points. Passives. Mana Lobe LVL2. Your Mana Lobe has a higher mana capacity, and if you look closely into it, you can see a crystallized mode of mana. Plus 200 mana capacity. Mana Control LVL2. You have grasped the fundamentals of mana control. Keep practicing. 4% mana cost reduction. Perfect Mana Sense. You have an immaculate ability to sense mana, it's like you were born to do this. Can toggle actively to notice mana flows. Mana Breathing LVL1. You have learned how to absorb mana through breathing. Mana Regen 1 per second in combat, 5/ per second out of combat. Body Cleansing LVL2. You have done your second body cleansing mana purge. Mana flows even better into you and it is pure. Mana Capacity plus 100, Spell Power plus 15%, HP plus 100. Actives. Propel. Launch an item in your hand or nearby with a strong wind controlled by mana. Base Mana Cost. 10, Scales with the weight of the thrown object, Ignite. Use your mana to ignite a flammable surface for 30 seconds. Burn damage equals 10% of magic damage. Base Mana Cost. 10, Scales depending on material, Mana Siphon. You can turbocharge your mana breathing to 1 breath, to restore a large amount of mana, 25%. Side Effect. Nausea. Mana Skin. You condense mana over your body, forming a second skin of pure mana. Reduced damage taken by 10%, also has a 20% chance of repelling a glancing blow. Base Mana Cost. 50, Mana Cost and Damage Reduction scale with how compressed you make the layer, Enhance Weapon. Gather mana into your weapon, to enhance it magically. Weapon damage plus 10%, weapon durability lowers depending on quality. Base Mana Cost. 25, Scales depending on how much mana is poured into the weapon, Soul Steel LVL1. Force the soul of a recently deceased person into submission, gaining a part of its strength. Gain 1 soul shard, maximum of 10, that boosts your stats by 10% of the person's highest stat for 1 minute. 30 seconds before the soul dissipates and can't be coerced. Intimidation Shout. Supercharge your voice using mana, causing even the air to tremble before you. 50% chance of causing fear. Effect lower against higher leveled opponents. Mana Cost. 20, Piercing Shot. You channel wind into your arrow, propelling and twisting it, giving it a high penetrative power. Plus 100% attack power. If this shot lands a critical hit, the damage is doubled. Mana Cost. 25, he tried putting a point in Enhance Weapon and reread it to see the effect. Enhance Weapon LVL2. Gather mana into your weapon, to enhance it magically. Weapon damage plus 20%, weapon durability lowers depending on quality. Base Mana Cost. 30, scales depending on how much mana is poured into the weapon, a 10% increase in power, not bad. He thought. So he dropped points until it maxed out. Enhance Weapon LVL 5, Max, Mastery LVL 0/5. Gather mana into your weapon, to enhance it magically. Weapon damage plus 10%. 100%. Mana cost. 5. 50, scales depending on how much mana is poured into the weapon. There was a qualitative change. It no longer damages the weapon. It's also variable at will now. Sweet. He thought to himself, praising his smart thinking. He kept the last 2 points for later. When he had a skill, he wanted to be maxed quickly. Then he noticed the mastery level that appeared next to his skill level. Is that with the use of the skill? He thought. Guess I'll find out when it goes up. He liked how his stats were right now. He could surmise that other players of the same level were probably not as strong as him. Except maybe the Heavenly Thousand. But he doubted they were stronger, though. At worst, they were equal in terms of power right now. As he thought of that, he looked up the level leaderboard. Level leaderboard number 1. / level 22 number 2. Grinding _beast / level 20 number 3. Real _number_1 gamer / level 20 number 4. I_am rich / level 20 number 5. Number_1 gamer / level 19 number 6. No _life gamer / level 19 number 7. Monster Slayer / level 18 number 8. Azimus / level 18 number 9. Phoenix / level 18 number 10. What _ever / level 17. The list went down to 50 players. Of those names, he wondered who was the number 1. His name was hidden. And then he recognized 2 other names. Azimus, which was number 1 in Tower of Babylon, and Phoenix, which was 10th in the same game. There are already 2 people from the Heavenly Thousand in the rankings. He thought. The others are bound to pop up soon too. I need to get grinding faster. The lowest level in the chart was level 15, but it wouldn't be too long before the rest of the Heavenly Thousand started climbing up there, weeding out the rubbish no lives that just farmed. He could guess that most players on the leaderboard right now had achieved their levels by purely grinding monsters. But that would cap soon, and he knew that because he was fighting higher level monsters. The qualitative changes as levels go become monstrous. So the players would have to stop and solidify their base. If it wasn't too late. And the players that had been solidifying their base already were bound to overtake the others soon enough. My turn is coming. He thought, clenching his fist with resolve. Astaroth thanked Old Man Abron, stood up, and left the cave. He needed to go wash and rest. He also had to log out, eat and rest in real life, too. Chapter 18 Soul Core, Part 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After logging off, Alexander took a quick shower and heated a frozen pizza. He sat down and took his phone out, opening the forums to New Eden. He re-browsed the leaderboard to see if it had changed, and was floored. The top 10 had already changed. Number 1. / level 23 number 2. Grinding _beast / level 21 number 3. Real _number_1 gamer / level 20 number 4. I_am rich / level 20 number 5. Azimus / level 20 number 6. Number_1 gamer / level 20 number 7. Phoenix / level 20 number 8. No _life gamer / level 19 number 9. Monster Slayer / level 19 number 10. Stormbringer / level 18 Azimus, the top player from Tower of Babel, had risen 3 ranks, Phoenix had raised 2 ranks, and Stormbringer, who was 4th in the old game, was now 10th. The thing is, the rest of the top 10 ranks had moved little. The Heavenly Thousand was no laughing matter. Plus, the more he scrolled down the list, the more he saw names from the top players. It was like they were leveling on steroids. He guessed they were most likely using the tier upgrade mechanic to boost the EXP they earned. If they did that on all their kills, they effectively doubled their EXP earned. But not everyone could do that. Alexander closed the board and looked at other posts, while he shoved the pizza in his mouth. One post especially caught his attention. The title was Heavenly Thousand Cheating. He quickly opened it up. In the post, the OP was complaining about how he had seen Azimus taking on a group of same-leveled creatures solo and winning. Some people then replied by saying they had seen other players from the Heavenly Thousand doing the same thing. Like their characters were much stronger than the masses. Most people complained about that, saying that they had received boosts from the game company. Or that they were hacking their stats and many other stupid theories. Alexander knew better though. He was confident that if he were to fight a group of 4 level 10 beasts, he would have the upper hand. Most players didn't yet know how to reinforce their character. It would come out soon, but he would not be the one spilling the beans. He was going to milk his advantage as much as he could. He closed the post and scrolled a little more. He found another post titled Death Penalty. He opened it up. The poster was calling the game unfair. He recounted how he had kept dying in the starting zone because he couldn't find a party. Every time he died, he would lose EXP equaling the EXP the creature that killed him would have given. But when he dropped back to level 1, it became way harsher. He lost the equivalent to his level, but at a debt. Then 90% of his experience would go towards paying the debt. But after he died 5 times without being able to repay the debt, his character was deleted, and he was locked out of the game for 24 hours. "I'm so happy I didn't die against that bear," Alexander said, shivering. He would have been screwed. What a harsh penalty, he thought. He kept reading the post in a little lower, another piece of information almost made him choke on his food. PvP gave experience. A player wrote that, when he died, he lost the required amount to level, dropping him down a full level and some. Another wrote how he killed a player of the same level and gained his level fully, aligning with what the other person had said higher. So that meant that you gained what the player lost. Now that was going to spark a PvP war. Players would try to kill the people on the leaderboard now. Because that was the best way to take someone down from it and take his place. The leaderboard would fluctuate a lot in the next few days, with the grinders getting knocked off, and the talented players going in and up. Since he was in a zone with no other players, he was safe from that, but that also meant he couldn't use that tactic to level up either. He would have to grind. He smiled wide. He was in the best place to grind, given that he could sortie out with a higher level NPC. He just needed to dish out maximum damage and collect EXP from their kills. Alexander closed up the forums and quickly finished his pizza. He then took a nap for a few hours and logged back in. Launching New Eden, logging in welcome back player Astaroth. As soon as he opened his eyes in his alcove, he jumped up and left. He practically ran to the barracks. When he got there, he slowed his pace down. He could still see the respect in people's eyes when they looked at him. They were no longer looks of mockery or disdain. Astaroth walked into the Barak building, the warriors inside piped down. One man got up and walked to him with a pint of ale. He extended his hand holding the pint towards Astaroth. "This is for you, lad. Had you not shot that arrow yesterday, I would be dead," the man said. That was when Astaroth recognized him. He was the man that was pinned down by the Alpha. Astaroth took the pint and nodded his head. He then took a big swig of the beverage, before making the biggest grimace his face could perform. This thing was not only strong, but it was also hot. He swallowed the hot, piss-like, liquid and smiled awkwardly. Everyone in the Barak exploded into laughter. Astaroth wasn't sure if they were making fun of him, or if they were just hazing him. Not that it bothered him, but he wasn't used to having this much attention on him. So he just looked at all of them with a confused look, thinking at least they don't seem like they are mocking me anymore. Chapter 19 Soul Core, Part 2 You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Another man got up amidst the laughter and walked to Astaroth. "Excuse the nasty prank with the ale," he said, trading the mug in Astaroth's hand for another. "The boys wanted to see you keel over, but you have a good stomach on you. Either that or no taste buds. Bahaha," he added, ending in a hearty laugh. "My name is Chris Pentalogus. It's a mouthful I know, so my friends call me Crispy. My subordinates call me the Colonel. You can call me whatever you like," the man said, bringing Astaroth to a table and sitting. Astaroth held a laugh. "Now, what you did yesterday was nothing short of saving a life. You saved Cloud's life by getting us and then saved another life, with that well-placed arrow. The boys wanted to reward you properly, so we got you weapons. Actual weapons. Not those toys you walk around with," Crispy said, looking down at the training weapons Astaroth was carrying at his belt. "We commissioned the blacksmith to make you weapons to replace your training weapons. All of them. Unfortunately, you carry a lot of weapons, so they will only be basic weapons, nothing fancy, but they will be better than what you have now," the man continued. "Captain Cloud also had something he wanted to give you, as a reward for saving him, but he wanted to give it to you himself, and sadly, he is not in a shape to be walking around just yet. So you will have to wait," he then said, taking a swig of his mug. Astaroth let him finish saying his bit, before taking a sip of ale and looking around. The atmosphere in the barracks was not one of despair or fear of having almost died. The warriors all acted like it was just another day at work. Mind you, for them, it probably is. He then thought. Then I shall graciously accept all of your gifts. I hope we can hunt together in the future and become friends. Astaroth said, smiling slightly. These men just gave him what he needed most to level up faster. Better weapons. That meant more damage, so more EXP. He was holding back from hugging all the men one by one. He simply ignored the fact that Cloud wanted to give him something too. That would wait until he was better, anyway. He stayed in the barracks for a bit, enjoying his ale and the ambience, before leaving all the training weapons on the racks in the courtyard, and walking towards the forge. He could feel the heat of the forge from meters away from the building. He walked into the smoldering building, getting assaulted by the heat once again. This time though, he didn't get any notifications about overheating. He guessed that his higher stats protected him from the forge's heat better. Astaroth took the small hammer and tapped on the bell lightly 3 times and then waited. Ding ding ding. After a few minutes, the burly blacksmith walked out from the back. He looked at Astaroth for a second, before smiling. "Aye, lad. Ye come fair your weapons, I reckon. I am almost done with em. Why don ye come back later?" the blacksmith said. "Oh. You already knew I would come to fetch them?" Astaroth asked. "Aye. I knew dem soldiers wouldn't come fair em," the man answered, laughing a bit. "Okay, well in that case, can I come back to fetch them tomorrow? Would that be all right?" Astaroth requested. "Aye. That would be better, I reckon. See ye tomorrow, wee lad," the blacksmith said, waving him away and walking back into the forge. Astaroth walked back out of the forge and went to Abron's house next. The old mage had asked him to come back soon, he still had something for him. As usual, the door opened up to him before touching it. He walked to the back of the house and found the bookcase open, so he walked down again, making his way to the cave at the end. Once he got there, he found Abron sitting on the ground, legs crossed, meditating. Through his mana sense, Astaroth could see the mana around the man getting sucked in at an impressive speed. He's probably recuperating from his spells the other day, he thought. The old mage opened his eyes once Astaroth was close, sensing his approach. He unfolded his legs and used a little burst of wind to help himself up. He then turned to Astaroth. "Sit down, young man. You left after the body cleansing yesterday, but we weren't done. I still have one more thing for you to do," Abron said, pulling something out from his robes. It was the clear blue orb from the Alpha's body. He extended his hand to Astaroth, the orb resting on his palm. "Here, take it," he said. Astaroth took the item and inspected it. Dire Wolf Alpha Soul Core, crafting material. This item contains the remnants of a powerful monster's soul. Can be used for crafting a multitude of things. Forging/sewing. Can be used during forging or sewing to give +5 agility points to armor. Alchemy. Can be used in a potion to make agility potion. The stats given depend on the potency of the potion. Scroll making. Can be used to make Scroll of Summoning, Dire Wolf Alpha. The strength of the summon depends on the scroll maker's talent. "But, sir, I can't use this yet," Astaroth said. After looking at the descriptions. "You can," the old man answered flatly. Astaroth just looked at the man awkwardly. Then, after a minute, it dawned upon him. Soul Core. Soul is another word for spirit. This orb contained a spirit remnant. His eyes went wide. Abron saw the change in expression and smiled. "Seems like you finally understood. Good. Now I will guide you through forming a contract with the spirit. Although I can't do much to help you, I will try my best. But the result will depend entirely on you," he said, pacing around Astaroth again. "I will do my best, sir," Astaroth said excitedly. He was maybe going to have his first contracted spirit. He hoped this would work. That was possibly his edge over everyone else. He focused his eyes on the orb. "I will make you mine," he thought, smiling from ear to ear. Chapter 21st Contract, Part 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Astaroth eyed the orb greedily. "What do I do, sir?" he asked Abron. "Start by trying to feel the soul remnant inside the orb. It should look like a flicker of flame to your mana sense. Feel it out until you can see it clearly. Once that is done, try to contact it using your mana," the old man instructed. Astaroth did as instructed. It took him a few minutes to feel the soul, and a few more to contact it. Once his mana touched the soul, he felt a wave of hatred and anger wash over him. He could feel his mana being pushed back slightly. "The soul is pushing me back, sir. What should I do?" Astaroth asked. "Did you think a spirit will submit to anyone? One that you have just killed? What else were you expecting?" Abron said, almost laughing at the question. "If taming a soul was easy, every mage would do it. Just keep focusing on it until the repulsion can't stop you from contacting it," he added. Astaroth focused more. He pushed his mana harder and continuously into the soul until he could feel his mana touch the soul without interruption. "I can force contact now. What next?" he asked the old mage. "Now you crush the orb in your hand. Set the soul free. It will more than likely try to overpower you, but you must resist. If you can hold out against it until it deems you worthy, it will form the bond to your soul by itself. Remember this. Anything you see will be in your mind," Abron instructed Astaroth. Astaroth nodded his head. He then took in a big breath and crushed the orb. Immediately, darkness swallowed his vision. His body lost weight like he was floating in space, and he couldn't tell up from down. A few seconds after, a wolf materialized in front of him. It was the same dire wolf alpha he had helped kill. It snarled at him. You think I will bond with you, puny elf? You are much too weak to kill me, even less likely to force me into submission. Astaroth heard in his head. You can talk. He responded. I can do much more. Kill you, for example. The wolf responded in his head, sending a wave of mana at Astaroth. The mana crashed into Astaroth, sending him tumbling into nothingness, but he stabilized himself quickly. You don't scare me, you oversized dog. Astaroth yelled at the apparition. Humph. We will see about that. The wolf huffed, then said. Let's see how long you would last against my pack if you were alone. The wolf then said, before howling. Around Astaroth, many wolves started appearing. They formed out of nothing and then surrounded him. Astaroth pulled out his polearm and stood ready. The surrounding wolves snarled and growled without moving. That changed rapidly as the wolves repeated the strategy used against Cloud. One moved in from one side and another moved in from the opposite side, trying to sandwich him. If he tried moving sideways, out of the two wolves' way, another would lunge at him, forcing him back into the middle. He got hit a few times, but strangely, he felt no pain. It wasn't until he got hit a dozen times he noticed why. The more he got hit, the weaker and slower he became. It was like they were draining away his strength. And then he remembered what Aberon had said. It was all inside his mind. They were draining away his mana. Astaroth changed tactics and didn't let himself get hit anymore. He focused on dodging, not trying to hit back. Astaroth wasn't damaging the wolves, anyway. He fought on like that for a few minutes, but he was rapidly tiring, and the more he grew tired, the more he got hit, forming a terrible circle. This isn't working. He thought. He tried to make sense of the situation while dodging, but couldn't focus enough. Then he realized. It's all in his head. That's what Aberon said. If this is in his head, doesn't he have absolute control? Theoretically, this could work, but he wasn't sure. Unfortunately for him, he no longer had any other option. He stopped moving altogether, closed his eyes, and focused his mind. The wolves all lunged at him, seeing an opportunity. Astaroth kept his eyes closed but imagined the space around him empty. Astaroth visualized the darkness, he visualized himself in it, alone, with the Alpha's spirit. He kept his eyes closed for a while, but never felt the bites from the wolves. He opened them up, and the wolves were gone. Only the Alpha remained. A look of anger was on his face. So you have figured it out. So what? Do you think that is all I can do? The Alpha said, snarling at Astaroth. No. That is not all you can do. But there is not only you in this space. And this space is inside my mind. You will bend to me. Astaroth said, domineeringly. I bow to no one. The wolf bellowed. He then tried lunging at Astaroth to eat him. I said bend to me. Astaroth yelled back. The wolf received a wave of mana that came out of nowhere. It pushed him back and then pressed him to the ground. The more he struggled, the harder it pushed him, eventually crushing him to the ground. The Alpha started whimpering in pain. Yield and bond with me. Only then will you stop suffering. Resist, and I shall ground your soul to dust. Astaroth declared, acting imperiously. You are too weak. I won't yield. The wolf responded, trying to push itself back up. The force pushing on it only grew. It cried out some more, feeling its strength erode the longer this went on. Yet, it kept resisting. It was stubborn to the end.